get that done, nothing works. The Arabs, through Saudi Arabia, have told me that they would recognize Israel. Saudi Arabia would, if they get two things. A defense agreement with the United States, which requires 67 votes, is kind of a checkmate to Iranian ambitions and would be the ultimate brand change for Saudi Arabia. It'd be pretty easy to sell a business interest on coming to Saudi Arabia if you could tell that business concern America will go to war for Saudi Arabia. That's a big brand change. So he wants that. Two, he and every other Arab leader has to deliver a dignified solution to the Palestinian issue or they will not last. I understand the politics in Israel. You're unified in the idea you don't want to reward the Palestinians with a state after they slaughtered 1,200 of your countrymen and women. I get that, and nor should you. But the question becomes, how does this end, and how do you keep Hamas from coming back? Here's the good news. MBS wants Hamas to come back about as much as you do. His 2030 vision is inconsistent with Hamas and the Ayatollah having a nuclear weapon. We have an alignment of interest for the first time since I've been coming here, where Arab leaderships at the UAE and Saudi Arabia have the same view of radical Islam as Israel does. We want no part of it. We reject them. Women are working in Saudi Arabia. They're driving in Saudi Arabia. Then go to dinner by themselves, things that seem small or large. They're going to spend $1 trillion in Saudi Arabia modernizing their economy, becoming the leader of the world for AI. Hamas prevents that from happening. So to everybody in Israel, you could have no better partner in destroying radical Islam than Saudi Arabia. Last question.
Hi, Alexander Cornwell from Reuters. Question to Senator Graham, just picking up on this point about the day after, what exactly is the role of the Gulf states with regards to reconstruction, security and governance? And just secondly, to Senator Blumenthal, if I may just sneak it in, what attributes about this plan that King Abdullah has explained to you has convinced you that this is realistic and that this could work and be a viable alternative to what the president has made public?
They're meeting in Saudi Arabia next week to come up with a plan that would allow the Palestinians to leave if they would like, but if they stay in place, to reconstruct without a mass exodus. And they're going to present it, I think, to the world, but particularly President Trump. The one thing that President Trump has done, he started a discussion that was long overdue. I think the Arabs have woken up, hey, we need to find a better alternative than what's been said. So I'm quite optimistic the Arab world will come up with a plan and present to President Trump that shows how you can provide security to Israel and deal with the Palestinian issue without driving them all out. Think of World War II. Germany and Japan were the most radical populations on the planet. There's no more radicalized group of people on the planet than people who live in Gaza and, to a lesser extent, West Bank. They've been taught from the time they're born to the time they die, kill all the Jews. How do you fix that? What did we do in Germany and Japan? We changed the education system. We empowered new people. We took the old and replaced it with the new. The one thing I can promise you, I don't speak Arabic. I am not the guy to do this. And quite frankly, our friends in Israel are not the people who do this. Who will change the education system in Gaza? The Arabs. And they're doing it in their own country. Who will give economic hope to the Palestinians? It will be the Arabs, because we're not spending a dime. We didn't start this war. So my belief is that de-radicalization and demilitarization can only be accomplished through Arab involvement. The role of Israel. You should have the ability to go into any place you need to go to stop a terrorist attack. We did not leave Germany and Japan. We had a military presence there, and we're still there in a different role. I think it would be foolish to expect Israel to just leave the day after Hamas is destroyed. You have legitimate security concerns that will require some form of military presence. But let me tell you what would be equally implausible is to occupy Gaza permanently. You can't do that. That will result in Israeli soldiers being killed every week. So in the short term, and I mean years, not months, Israel needs to have the security presence required to prevent another October 7th, and you devolve power back to the new population you create based on conditions. This worked in Germany and Japan. It will work here. But it won't be Americans doing this. It will be the Arab world.
Let me I think you wanted me to elaborate as well. My conversations with Arab leaders, most recently King Abdullah, have convinced me they have a really realistic appraisal of what their role should be in their own national interests, which is security in Gaza, which they have the military resources to do, reconstruction in Gaza, which they have the money to do, education in Gaza, which they have the cultural architecture to do, and an appreciation for the support of the United States through a possible defense treaty against the common enemy, which is Iran. And to the people of the United States, I would remind you that the Hezbollah flag says, death to Israel, death to the United States. That's the common mantra among the Iran proxies, death to the United States as well as to Israel. We have a mutual security interest here because the absence of a secure and lasting peace for this region will mean that it's a continuing source of terrorism threatening the United States. And the Houthi closure of the Red Sea is a perfect example. It is increasing the costs of goods and services in the United States of America because of the increased insurance costs. We are linked by unshakable bonds of faith, culture, economy, and emotion to Israel, but in a very real, hard-headed, practical sense. And we emphasize this point to the Prime Minister. Our future and our fates are inextricably linked by a common national security interest.
Thank you all.
Thank you.